Yo, what up? Panda dudes, Peter von Panda here. Hey, look at I bought a Skagen. This one's the connected watch. You know, I've been looking for a smartwatch-ish type of thing to satisfy my tech needs. You recently saw that I picked this up, this Fossil Q hybrid. Great little watch. And what you may not know is Fossil, I don't even know if that's the parent company, but I believe Fossil owns Skagen. Great, is it Danish? Swedish? Danish? Company, kind of they're known for their minimalist, kind of modern design, their kind of clean, simple design. And so they also have a connected hybrid smartwatch here. Now, what I'm going to actually tell you, spoiler alert, is that I think because of the same parent company, the apps, even though one's branded Skagen, one's branded Fossil, I believe, are almost exactly the same. And the functionality is almost exactly the same. You can see here they both have kind of these subdials where the smart information is really displayed, and then they have kind of their main time dial, and you know, you see we've got 31 numbers here, those are the dates. And so in terms of pure functionality, they're going to be pretty similar. Now, I've never owned a Skagen watch. I'm going to call it that. I don't know that that's how you pronounce it, Skagen, but I call it Skagen. A buddy of mine, John, out in New York, has had Skagens forever, and I like them. They're awesome. They're really nice looking. And if you've ever seen them, you probably are aware that not only are they kind of trendy and modern and cool and kind of minimalist chic, you know, I kind of envision if you drive a Volvo, you know, with the matte light wood, et cetera, you should probably be wearing one of these Skagens. But he's always had it. I've always liked it. I've never owned one. And one of the reasons is that the Skagens I've seen are usually pretty thin. I mean, the thing is that they make really kind of razor thin watches, very small diameter watches. And in general, that really hasn't appealed to me, and to each his own. That, you know, you like what you like, but I like my watches a little bigger. Everyone gives me crap for that, so whatever, poo-poo it. You know, first of all, I'm going to tell you, the box is like paper. It's pretty cool. You know, for a paper box, it's cool, and it's kind of got this like light powder blue, and it looks nice. And then the pillow that this comes on is like cloth, and it also looks pretty cool. I just like this kind of ivory on the blue. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then in the box here, obviously I just pulled out the watch. We have the Skagen Connected. Looks like the user manual in various languages, tongues, and then a quick guide. So I think this kind of gets you up and running. And here is the watch itself. Now, this watch is not super big. It is huge compared to other Skagens. So at 42 millimeters, it's pretty big. Now, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. Look, it's got plastic on the back and the front, which I'm going to take off here. And I actually feel like it's bigger than 42 millimeters. So let's just go see who's right, the company that makes it or the Panda. And let's go ahead and close this around it. I'm not going to include the crap. Darn you, Skagen. Darn you, you've tricked me. It is actually exactly 42 millimeters. The Fossil here is 44, and that's actually a size that I think is really perfect. I'm actually shocked because I would say 42 millimeters, dude, that's not a watch that's big enough that I can comfortably wear. First of all, I was going to just throw it on here and give you a wrist shot. What's kind of crazy is that this buckle is different than pretty much anything I've ever had on a watch before. It's kind of, this half looks like a traditional buckle, but then the retention strap, which you would see here, is also aided by this kind of counter balanced end of the buckle. So we're going here, lock through, you'd presumably run it under this, I guess, and then under there. So let's go ahead and just try it that way and see if that's how it works. And like I was saying, even though it's 42 millimeters, in general, I feel like it looks and probably feels a little bigger than that. So kind of putting this thing on is not the easiest thing in the world because of you've got to kind of lever that up. But, you know, the nice thing is that's pretty secure, man. Nice, kind of more old school vintage leather band here, you know, no stitching. The dyeing and the tanning goes all the way to the side. So it's actually a little bit like kind of those more retro Shinolas, which is kind of a cool thing to do. I just think it looks nice. It kind of looks like a, you know, handcrafted belt in a lot of ways, and just cool. There's like no stitching even up here. It's kind of rolled over and then maybe glued Might be a little hard to see there, but just simple and elegant. And like I said, one of the reasons that it might look a little bigger to me is that it's pretty thick, right? You've got to get the hardware. Not only do you have to get your quartz movement and all of that in there, but then you've got to get a Bluetooth receiver. There's presumably vibration with this, so you've got to get that vibrating motor and everything, and the packaging becomes an issue. Because of that, you have a fairly distinct bowl shape. Not unlike my Arnold and Son watch that has that as well, but this is more to accommodate it. I think they kind of bowl that under to kind of thin the watch out, because when you're looking at it from here, it doesn't look like you've got all that depth to it, because Skagen's thing is to try to kind of look a little minimalist. So I commend them for that, because I think this is a nice looking watch, man. Like I said, 42 millimeters. It wears a little bigger because I think of how thick it is. That's going to be a little harder to get under the sleeve of your shirt or the cuff of your shirt. But man, this is nice. If I wear this to work, people are going to look at it and say, well, that's a classy, decent looking watch. No doubts. No doubt. We have a few buttons here. They end up being function buttons. There's no round crown like you would expect to see on a watch. Fossil kind of disguises this middle button as a traditional crown. So usually what we have here are some, look at that. Okay, so I've activated something. And then this is usually a mode button. And down here is, we'll find out. So right now, since it's not paired, it's not getting any data on what time it is. It can't set. But let's take a look at the hardware itself. First of all polished case. The interesting thing about this generation of Skagens, and they're kind of the Gen 2 of the Fossil Q watches, is that they have a user-accessible battery here. Now, one of the things that was interesting in the Fossil watches, they actually gave you a tool to open this up. And you can see here that this opens up the same way. Looks like, I don't know if you'd use a coin, but you'd probably use something large, flat, and deep to kind of twist this open. Like I said, I didn't see any tools included. That's kind of a little disappointing, but it is what it is. It only takes like a quarter, not even a quarter turn. What you have to do here is you've got these two dots that line up, showing it's locked, and then another dot here. So you would twist it to bring this dot in a line, and the back would pull off, and then it's like a 2032 battery or something like that. Very common battery. 3 atmospheres, water resistance, all stainless steel. And that's nice because you don't have a charger like you would on the first generation of the Fossil type of watches, right? So you don't have to charge it each night or every few days. All of the internals here are running off the same power cell, as opposed to the original generation, which had a standard watch battery running the quartz movement, and then a separate rechargeable battery running the electronics, okay? So that's kind of nice. The cool thing is you can have a spare battery on you at all times. It's a few bucks. When the battery dies, which might be every 6 to 9 months, I think is what they advertise, take it out, put it in, ready to rock. You're not waiting and going to a watch shop or pissed you lost your charger or something. You can be on vacation. 20 millimeter watch strap. This is kind of like an unfinished naked back. It feels a little like suede. Super comfortable, man. And it's obviously off color. The cool thing here too is, again, I'm loving seeing more of this quick release spring bars on the strap. So you just push it down here, and then that compresses the spring bar, and you can lift it out, and you can put in a spring bar, another band really, really easily. Then the spring bar stays with the band. I'm really liking these. Movement does it. Fossil does it. I wish everyone did. The cool thing about this is you'll have this piece part of the watch, and if you want to swap this out with a tan band or a blue band or something, whatever, and actually you could change up the look every day if you wanted, or if you just don't like this color on this for this band, you can just swap it out all the time, right? All right. Like I said, a really deep bowl shape. It's nice. The lugs here, even though they look like they're curving down a lot, as you can see, don't even extend past the bottom of the watch. So it's a little bit of an illusion. You're kind of seeing maybe this much of the watch, and that's what you're kind of thinking that is there. And so these lugs kind of fold down. But, everything is nice and soft, polished super well, no sharp edges. Looks like the top part of the case is pressed onto the bottom here. And it's very cylindrical, flat crystal. I don't know what kind of mineral crystal, I guess. And a flat bezel up front. And just really fits with the Skagen design language, and it looks really nice. And if we look at the dial, it's like a pearl white. It really has a pearlescence to it that might be hard to capture here on camera, but it's really nice. You know, as opposed to being like a flat paper white or something like that, this really does look kind of like almost like an opaline or something like that. I mean, it looks high quality. The face of the watch, the dial here, might be a little hard to capture, but very, very pearl. You know, it's kind of the difference between a white car and when you get those like metallic pearl Cadillac Escalades, right? You put those two side by side and one just looks way better, even though they're kind of in the same color range, right? And it's in that white color range, but it's just, man, it looks great. And the subdial here, which is actually looks like it's a little bit sunk, you know, it's just a little bit, you know, below the kind of the main surface of the dial. It might be a little hard to see. And then the hour numbers, the Arabic numerals there, also in the same exact color, but they're raised up. I don't know if they're punched in there or if they're applied. I kind of assume that, you know, at this price point, which is a couple $100 for this watch, that the dial is kind of pressed in its entirety. You know, it's nice that there's some relief on the numbers and then on the subdial, but I kind of think from a manufacturing perspective, it's all out of the same piece. I might be wrong about that. I might be wrong. The Arabic numerals, the cool thing about it, even though I think they're punched into the dial itself, is that they're maybe just a little shinier, right? It almost looks like they're silver or something on the camera, you know, to you, but they're actually the same color, but they're just like a little bit shinier, you know, just a little bit different sheen. And then the Skagen Connected, like silked on there, whatever, printed on there, looks nice and black. The subdial is cool too because the colors are very, very complementary. This is where you'll have some different functions, A, B, C, and then you'll see on the reverse side here, 0 to 100. This is your activity meter effectively. And so it works like a fitness device, like a Fitbit. It's going to count your steps. You're going to enter some information on the app to determine, you know, what your daily goal should be, and this is going to track towards it. So, you know, what you're going to want to see is, you know, a lot of steps during the day and getting up to 100%. But even the color graduation here on the opposite side, it's white, gray, looks like kind of a dark gray, and then like a navy blue. And it just is nice. It's not very jarring. It looks nice. Like I said, there's not a lot of contrasting colors like on my Fossil Q that did, which I also like, but it's obviously not bold like that. There's a little color, but it's done very, very tastefully. And then the hands, both on the subdial and the long, are just long, slender, kind of helicopter propeller style. Now there's a little pip on the top and bottom of the minute and the hour hand here, and we'll see if those have lume on them, because that'll be nice if they do, just to have that reference. You know, they don't have to be super illuminated, but it would be nice maybe to have them kind of glow at you just a tiny bit. And then, like I said, on the outermost portion of the dial here, kind of right against the bezel, you have 1 to 31, and those are the date numbers. So when you hit the function to go to date, the 2 hour and the minute hands will converge on one of these numbers and tell you what the date is. Now, I don't know that I like that better than having a date window that always stays on the date. I guess it's good, but I don't know that you're making any improvement there. It's just as maybe an aesthetic thing, but you know, it is what it is on these hybrid watches, and I'm okay with it. So let's go ahead and get it paired. Okay, so step number 1, you're going to want to download the Skagen Connected app, which I did. And I think functionally, it's almost going to be exactly the same as that Fossil app. But the difference here is that it follows the same Skagen design language. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up here, and then let's get going. So I signed up. Now we're going to start pairing. Okay, and one thing that you'll have to know when pairing is apparently you want to press and hold this middle button, your main crown button, for 5 seconds in order to get it into pairing mode. It's kind of vibrating on me right now, so there. Found it. Nearby. We're going to select it. Almost done, it says. Pairing through Bluetooth. So hold down this middle button to get into pairing mode. All right, pairing's complete. Looks like we got to update firmware. Now that the firmware is updated, it's in the calibration mode here. And what it's telling you is that use the buttons to advance or retard the hour hand until it matches the one in the picture below. And it is matched already, so I can just hit next. And it's telling me to calibrate the minute button, and that looks good too. Now it's telling me to calibrate the subdial. Still good. Calibration complete. What we can see here, and maybe you can't see, it's 8:42 p.m. and the watch is showing me 8:42 p.m. So it is syncing, which is great. Now, foot, pounds, and miles. That's good for us in America. 5'7", that's good. Oh, step goal 10,000. Let's just keep all this 8-hour sleep goal. So you're going to set your own things. I don't have any of these other apps here, particularly setup complete. My device is now ready to use. Activity tracking, it's going to give me a little bit of that. Sleep and goal tracking. Get started, notifications. That's really why I'm looking for a fashionable watch, is notifications, particularly calendar notifications, but maybe also text and phone to a lesser extent. Skagen Link, which I'm going to use to find my iPhone, alarm, and a second time zone, which I don't really need. And then this is showing me in the app how to use my watch, and I can learn more. So the top button is going to be date. The middle button is going to toggle between modes, and the bottom button is the Skagen Link, just like the Fossil Link. So we're going to skip that and start getting into this. This is where we'll receive notifications in the sub-dial window. The sub-eye on the watch will point to the color you choose for each. Okay, so that's good. So the issue here is that because that you have an A, B, and a C, you're going to have to remember what those are. It's going to the sub-dial arrow is going to point to one of those, telling you that this is the alert you've picked, and then the hands are going to alert you. But that's the key, is that you're going to have to remember that on your own. So you're going to have to be a little bit of a human computer. Now, we have no activity data today, but here I am, Peter von Panda. My device is the Hagen Connected. Notifications, and this is where we would add someone. So I'm going to go ahead and add a person, and I'm going to add a contact. I'm going to add Aesop here. And then I'm going to go back, and there is my boy Aesop. I don't want email notifications, and I don't want text notifications. But if Aesop calls me, I do want a phone notification. So I'm going to leave that on there. So one of 6 people is now selected. What I have here is my modes, A, B, and C, are going to show me different things. So A is my second time zone, date is B, and alarm is C. And I do want to change I want to show you here that you can change in your settings your goals here, but you can also change your vibration strength. Now, I saw this and felt this vibrating, but I like it's vibrating strong. It's going to go ahead and change that there. And now we're looking at my peeps here. I've got Aesop. If I tap on Aesop, what it's going to do is it's going to give me 4 of these different colors. And it can be the white, the gray, the dark gray, the blue, or actually vibration only. What I'm going to say is, Aesop's my boy. I want to go to the white here. And you can see that the sub-dial arrow hand went to the white, showing me where it'll go when Aesop calls and I'm getting a notification from him. It's going to go to that white, and then it's going to vibrate on me. So that's my indication that my boy Aesop's calling. Now, if I put in my girl Bsop and I pick for her like a different color, it's going to go to that, like the gray, the dark gray, or the blue. So this is really your indicator of what's happening while you're feeling that vibration. And we're going to go ahead and test that out. Now, the cool thing is when a call comes in, the watch does buzz a couple times. It stays down there while the phone is still ringing and then returns once the phone call has disconnected, or the calling portion of it is disconnected. Now, one of the things that I couldn't find is a place to increase the vibration setting. So what it does is it usually goes buzz, buzz. The notification goes to the color that you've selected, and the hand stays there for the duration of the ringing. But the vibration only goes buzz, buzz. So it's really just kind of a quick notification. I would actually prefer it to continue to buzz, go buzz, 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 as long as the phone's ringing. There is a little bit of noise that emanates while the vibrator motor is running, but I'd almost prefer that. It's not a big deal, but just understand that if you kind of miss that initial buzz, that's what happens. So the Skagen watch here, the Skagen Connected, is a pretty nice watch. And if you like this design, which I actually think it's really a beautiful design, and want notifications related to people, or an alarm. But generally people emailing, texting, or calling, then this is a really good watch. And despite it sharing essentially the DNA with the Fossil Q hybrid watch, like this one, the reason why I'm sticking with the Fossil Q is that the Skagen watch is missing calendar notifications. So actually, if I go here, back to the Fossil Q app, you can see I can absolutely link this to my calendar, and my watch will absolutely create a notification, a buzz, and then an alert on my Fossil Q hybrid watch, where they won't do that on the Skagen watch. So the key is notifications for people, Skagen watch, and the Fossil Q will work exactly the same. Notifications for calendar is going to be limited to the Fossil Q. It's not going to be this watch. Overall, really nice, very similar apps, nice minimalist design, beautiful looking watch, great functionality, but keep in mind that the limitations here, even though they share the same DNA. Peter Von Panda with my Skagen Connected, out!